everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, the second half of the show, we are going to have Dan McClellan on.
Yes.
Your new podcast partner on your Data and Dogma show.
Data Over Dogma.
Over Dogma. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. TikTok star Dan McClellan is going to be joining us. So that'll be fun to talk to him.
Indeed. All right. But first we have some news, Dan.
Yes, indeed.
Some
the news
stuff
of the
that
day.
happened. Some stuff happened this week. Oh my God, Dan. Which one do I start with? Okay. Dan.
Yes.
What happens if you don't pay your power bill? What happens if you don't, right?
I never pay my power bill. I'm off grid entirely.
I'm sure you are.
Not at all. I would imagine that my power would be turned off.
Yeah, that's a normal thing. That's a typical expectation. That's what I would expect. Well, not the good folks over at Friendship Baptist Church that has run up a $30,000 power bill that the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company has decided that they're taking action on, and they've cut off the power to the church.
Sure.
And
I'm imagining it that, if I run up a couple $100 worth, my power is going to get it shut off. So yeah, I would think at 30,000, you might lose power.
30,000. Well, the good Reverend Alvin Gwynn Jr. of the Friendship Baptist Church has this to say: you're chopping God's worshiping services off. That's what you're doing. You just turn the lights off in God's house. Imagine that, he says. In a written statement, the power company says BGE works with all customers, including Friendship Baptist Church, to help them access various payment options and energy assistance resources. I'm sure they did. I'm sure the last thing they wanted to do, actually, from a PR perspective, right? If nothing else, just strictly PR, they didn't want to shut off power at a church. But there have to be consequences, right?
Okay, sure.
You don't pay your power bill. But nope, these freeloading churchy types, they don't want to pay taxes, and they don't. And this guy's trying to get away with this.
It's one of those things where, if you think that we shouldn't shut off power to God's house, then tell God to pay his goddamn bills. How about that?
Yeah. No kidding. He says that they've had troubles since COVID, getting caught up and whatnot.
Sure.
I'm sure they took full advantage of BGE's generosity during that period of time.
Right.
And now they just can't catch up. And now that the power's been shut off, there's an added sort of insult to injury. It's going to cost them even more money because, well, again, we're going to go to the good Reverend, and a reconnection charge and a deposit because I'm a new customer. After 34 years on this corner and 80 years in Baltimore City working with BGE, all of a sudden I'm a new customer? Excuse me?
Man, they are outraged.
Oh,
that they have to pay their bills.
Just the worst. Can you imagine?
What I can imagine is that a lot of churches sort of push it. You know what I mean? See what they can get away with.
Totally.
Oh, you wouldn't do that to us, would you? We're a church. This is the Lord's house. You don't want us to pay for that, do you?
Oh my God. No kidding.
Oh man. That's what an amazing, the balls, the sheer heavy hanging balls to think that you are not just above paying taxes, but above just paying bills.
No, they shouldn't have to, Dan. They shouldn't have to.
It is the Lord's house.
Should just be free.
Well, I think we're gonna have a few trigger warnings on this episode, and I'm gonna start off with the first one, which is trigger warning, Cardinal Theodore McCarrick.
Oh boy!
Now we've talked about him before. He is he's now 92 years old, but he was the first Catholic cardinal to be defrocked back in 2019 for sexual abuse.
They really need to come up with a different term for it. Especially when you're talking about sexual abuse.
Sexual abusers, we shouldn't be talking about taking off their clothes.
Don't defrock them. Don't do it.
Just take away their title. Just fire them. They're fired.
Yes. Yeah.
Theodore McCarrick was fired from being a cardinal.
Enough. Good.
Yeah. So anyway, this was back in 2019. And I think the shocking thing about that moment was that the Catholic Church did literally anything about it.
Right.
He was the highest up clergy person to be fired for this thing.
Well, you said cardinal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually my miter is off to you, sir.
Yeah, they actually did it. They actually did that.
Wow.
Well, there have been multiple accusations. Many of them he didn't face any legal consequences for because they happened so long ago.
Right.
The statute of limitations has come up. Well, here's a new one.
Oh.
92-year-old dementia-having Cardinal McCarrick. He's being charged by Wisconsin's Attorney General.
Did they change the statute of limitation?
Yeah, they must have done.
Okay.
And so he's getting new charges are being filed for a crime that was committed in 1977.
Wow. Wow. Good.
This guy was the lord of the sex traffickers. He was famous for apparently taking young men on trips with him when he would go on trips.
Of course he did.
And it was, of course, there are these unsuspecting families who just trust the shit out of, he's at that point, he's Archbishop of so-and-so or whatever. And he's going on a trip and he would take, some 16-year-old boy with him. And it's this great honor for the family. And then grope them. And then he would make them, say 3 Our Fathers and a Hail Mary or something. Make them do penance for what he forced them to do.
Oh, that's sick. That's really sick.
Yeah. It's not great. And now, new charges have come forward and, it's, the man is, his lawyer claims that he does have Alzheimer's at this point, so he may not even be competent to stand trial. But man, was this guy just the epitome of everything that's wrong with putting someone in that kind of a position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sort of religious power position.
And just blind trust, right? The community has.
And the fact that he kept moving up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had a whole racket going.
Yeah.
Of trafficking these boys. And yet that didn't stop his huge ascension to cardinal in the church. So there you go.
Brutal. All right. Well, since you I'm just going to power on into the,
since I brought us down, we might as well stay there.
Let's stay there for a minute. The rest hopefully will be a little bit easier. But yeah, trigger warning on this one. This one has to do with suicide. So if that's a topic that you might be feeling sensitive to, please advance 5-6 minutes, whatever it is. Yeah. But for the rest of us, we get to hear about a really remarkable ritual suicide that took place in India. So,
oh God,
it's going to be good. They pulled out all the stops, these two. It was a husband-wife duo, 38-year-old and a 35-year-old. They both died by decapitation
Whoa!
After using a homemade bladed mechanism in a prayer hut that they had been praying in daily for a year or so. And they had prepared a sort of a fire altar, so ritual fire.
Okay.
That the whole thing was designed so as after their heads were cut off, that they would then roll into the fire.
Oh my God.
To be burned, because fire is considered sacred in Hinduism.
Sure.
And it plays an important role in many different, worship rituals. And, and ritual sacrifice is a thing.
Wow.
Right. Apparently, there are more than 100 reported cases between 2014 and 2021 of human sacrifice. And the article doesn't rule out there were other ritual suicides, sacrificial suicides.
Well, listen,
in that number.
If you're going to have ritual sacrifice, human sacrifice, you better be doing it to your fucking self.
You know what? Yeah, sure.
I'm way more okay with that than
totally.
Than sacrificing somebody else. You don't have the right to take anybody else's life, but I mean,
yeah, like
you kind of have the right to your own life.
If we're going to create some sort of hierarchy here of awful things, setting up a guillotine to cut your head off and having your head roll into a fire, that's up to you, I guess.
I'm trying to picture what this mechanism was because I am fascinated.
Let's see. This is the couple first prepared a fire altar before putting their heads under a guillotine-like mechanism held by a rope.
Oh my God.
This is the police sub-inspector who's been quoted by Indian news outlets. As soon as they released the rope, an iron blade fell on them, severing their heads, which rolled into the fire.
Wow. I'm telling you, though, if you're going to do it by fire, cut your head off first. Sever your brain from your spinal column, then you can't perceive pain.
Sure.
No matter what happens.
Sure. No matter how long, like you might have some awareness, right? They say.
So that's the way to go. I feel like they did it right. I feel like they nailed it.
Okay. Well, if you or anyone you know might be in crisis, if you're in the United States, there's the 988 number. You can text it or call it.
That's true. Don't do this to yourself. This is a tale of what not to do.
Yeah.
You're
damn.
But damn. Also.
Like I want to take it seriously, but it's also absolutely fucking absurd, right?
Yeah.
Like also like an important note here, the couple is survived by 2 children. They're in their 30s. God. These are most likely not adult children, right?
Oh my God.
Nearing adulthood, maybe, but not adult kids. This is sick. I don't know what these folks had gotten into, as far as like spiritual teachings and whatnot, but really fucking sick. And I mean, I read it and, I have a sick sense of humor. Right. And so like personally to myself and anybody out there who looks this up and feels the need, like there's something about the phrasing that made me chuckle. Right. But the reality of it is, and as soon as you focus on the reality of it, it's sick and it's sad.
And no belief system should ever lead someone to that.
No.
If there's even the remotest danger that you're teaching in your belief system might lead 2 people to guillotine their heads into a fire, there's probably a glitch in the message somewhere.
Maybe it's just gone a step too far somewhere. like maybe let's just pull it back.
Yeah, just reel that part in at least. Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Oh, you know what though? We're not done with trigger warnings because this.
Dan.
This is a.
What the hell? I'm going to trigger warn in the description of the show.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the title of the show is just going to be trigger warning. That's the title of the episode. Here's the thing. We're going to go to Missouri, where State Senator Mike Moon was recently being chastised a little bit by someone who was trying to point out the fact that, like many states in our really fucked up country right now, Missouri is considering some anti-trans bills, some laws to make life harder for trans people.
Yeah.
And it's usually, and it's always, they always say they're protecting the kids. It's all about the children.
Yeah.
It's all about protecting the kids. And this person came in and was trying to talk about, what about parents' rights to decide what's right for the kids? And pointed out that Senator Moon really didn't have a leg to stand on when it came to protecting children. And all of that sort of thing, because just a few years ago, Senator Moon literally voted against a bill that would raise the legal age that a person could get married to 16.
Oh my God. He cares about the children.
Yeah, he cares a lot about the children. And he did not make his case any better when he came back. So the person said, this guy who is state rep Peter Meredith, who was challenging him, he said, quote, "I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12. If their parents consented to it, you said actually the law should be because it's the parents' right and the kids' rights to decide what's best for them." To which Moon responded that he actually knew some people who were married at 12 and they're still married. He literally defended it. It was a little astounding. Yeah, he later tried to make it better by clarifying that the 12-year-old that he had known was impregnated by another minor. So actually not what the other guy was talking about. The other guy was pointing out that the law there allows a child to be married to an adult. But obviously no child should be married, period, ever.
Right.
And that's the end of the story. And if this senator can't see that, really should that be the person making the moral judgments about what is or isn't good in terms of healthcare for a child who is trans?
Right.
Just yikes.
Good Lord.
Just a lot of yikes out there.
Yeah. Sick. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to cheer anybody up. Coming up, May 6th. Do you know what is happening on May 6th, Dan?
6 de Mayo? I think that's Hangover Day, isn't it?
Well, not so much in the United Kingdom, where King Charles is going to be crowned king of the whole thing, right?
That's when the coronation happens.
Is going to be taking place, which the coronation is a religious ceremony. And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yes.
Right? On our show. Otherwise it might be like, well, come on. Like,
yeah.
Why are you talking about this on Thank God I'm Atheist?
Because we're all obsessed with the royals. That's why.
Just can't get enough. No, it takes place in Westminster Abbey, which is, a cathedral, I suppose. And
it's an abbey, Frank. It's in the title.
Abbey. Okay, well, it's a big giant fucking church. It is. It's like the most important, right?
Yeah.
Of all the abbeys
for the Church of England.
Church of England.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so a poll has been conducted to sort of see how the British people are feeling about the coronation.
Okay.
And for most everybody, it's just kind of a big meh.
Whatever.
People don't really care. In a survey of more than 3,000 adults, 35% said they don't care very much.
Interesting.
29% said they do not care at all.
Wow. Look, this guy's mom was 100 years old. Most of these people have never lived through a coronation in their lifetimes.
I know. Only 9% said they care a great deal that it's going to be happening. However, 46% said they're likely to watch the coronation or take part in some celebrations, right? Because why not? It's a Saturday. So it should be a big, festive, fun day.
Great excuse to go to the pub.
Totally, right? Apparently, with young people, 75% of people aged between 18 and 24 said they do not care very much or at all about the event.
Wow.
Even among the over 65s, who are typically the most pro-royal demographic, 53% said they did not care very much or at all. So kind of interesting. And if you think about, and I don't know if there is any connection between sort of the decline of faith, right, in the UK, but the institution itself of like, it's interwoven into the religion, right, or the Church of England, right?
He's the defender of the faith. Yeah, he's the head of the Church of England.
There's a spiritual component to it, obviously, right? Maybe I'm sure we'll have British listeners be like, hey, you guys are kind of getting this a little wrong. But from this side of the pond, the coronation just looks like a giant religious ceremony to me, which apparently it is, right?
Yeah.
And
who's conducting it? It's going to be
the Archbishop of
Canterbury,
I believe. Yeah. I think
it's going to be somebody who's an archbishop.
It's going to be somebody pretty hoity-toity and high up.
And he's going to be wearing something very silly.
Yeah. Well, they're all going to be wearing things that are silly, Dan.
Yeah, that's why you watch.
Yeah,
you want to see what goofball shit they're all wearing.
Are you going to get up and watch it, Dan?
Fuck no. That's like me. I'll watch it the way I watch baseball. I'll take the highlight reels and that's it.
No. I think we should have a party. I think we should get up at like 3 a.m. or whatever it would have to be.
Oh goodness!
Set the TV. Watch a little coronation. Like honestly, like your point that like it's nobody has seen one of these right in their lifetime. Like the Queen was on the throne for like 70 years or some nonsense.
Yeah,
seriously,
an absurd amount of time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to close this off in Yuba City, California.
Ooh, beautiful Yuba City.
Oh, everyone look, once in your lifetime, you got to make it to Yuba City. It's important. That's not true. Don't worry about it.
It's a pilgrimage of sorts.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
But also, there is apparently a very high, a thriving Sikh population, as in the India-based religion, the Sikhs or Sikhs, and they have a thriving community. Now, Frank, before I go on with this story, I would like you to give me just broad strokes, your basic impression of the Sikh community as a whole.
I think generally what I've observed is they seem to sort of practice what they preach. There's a focus on generosity, on community involvement, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Civic mindedness.
Absolutely.
They seem to be very civic minded as a religious community. Mm-hmm. That's what I've observed. I actually hold a certain amount of respect for Sikhs.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Because this story is about apparently two rival crime syndicates in Yuba City.
Crime Syndicate 6?
That's it.
Didn't really work. Sorry. Everybody.
No. I was sitting there trying to go sick tickets. No, that's not going to be it. Anyway. Yeah. Apparently there was one big sick crime syndicate there in Yuba City, and they split.
Oh,
and
no.
and when the great crime schism happened, all hell broke loose. So
Really?
everything started with a sword attack at a parade.
I was going to ask if they pulled their little knives out, but
yeah, they all have like little swords and things. So there was a sword attack. Now it has escalated well beyond that. With over a dozen men have now been arrested, and 11 people have been shot at oh yeah.
This is
there
outrageous.
are multiple shootings all over the place, including, part of this includes there was an attempted attack on another parade later that was thwarted by police.
Oh
And yeah, just
God.
absolutely murderous, sick gangland stuff. So
I'm disappointed.
there you go.
You guys
don't.
I'm throwing my pen down.
You can't have heroes anymore.
Well, I mean, people are people, right? And I felt like maybe I was being set up a little bit.
Of course
but
you were.
I went there. Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. It's funny because every now and then someone will complain that we only go after the Christians, and the Christians are the ones who deserve it most in our country because they're the ones doing the most awful shit. But you know what? Every now and then, somebody else rears their head and just makes you go, "Oh, damn. Okay, well, I guess it's you guys this time."
Bunch of little tiny sword fights down in Yuba City. All right.
So if you do go visit Yuba City, as I mentioned before, and you hear clanging from around the corner, run. It's on. All right. Well, if you would like to comment on this or any of our depressing stories from this week, please feel free to do so. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank,
Dan.
one of the things that we haven't actually touched on yet on this show is the whole kerfuffle with Bud Light putting a delightful trans woman on their cans.
Right. Trans
on cans, it's no good. Everyone's just having meltdowns about it. Kid Rock. Did you see the Kid Rock thing?
No.
He bought multiple cases. I love that people are buying the product to then like throw it away. It's amazing. But he bought multiple cases of Bud Light and then shot it with like automatic weaponry.
What? All right, Kid Rock, whatever.
Yeah. If I hadn't written off Kid Rock since the moment I heard of Kid Rock, he would be written off at this point. And yeah, I've seen videos of like just unhinged people destroy. Like one guy I saw today, he was just in the beer aisle of a grocery store, grabbing beer cans and throwing them angrily on the ground. Crash.
Well, that's not nice.
No,
that's unacceptable behavior in public. Actually,
I agree.
You're not allowed to do that. I hope there were consequences.
Yeah. So I'm about to play some audio by a Christian hate preacher. It does have some transphobia in it.
Good Lord, with the trigger warnings.
Yeah. It ends on it ends on a note I was not expecting.
It's 2023 and this tranny stuff is everywhere. and it's absolutely revolting. And let me just say this to make me feel good. I've always hated the Bud Light company, but you know what? It's felt pretty good this week watching them lose billions of dollars. I hope they die financially. I do. I hope they do. I can't imagine a straight man drinking Bud Light right now. I mean, you name, there's not a drink out there. You all know how much I like Ghost. They put a tranny on their can, I'll be cured. Done. I don't care. Dr. Pepper, whatever. If Dr. Pepper turns out this whole time was a woman, I always thought it was a guy, I'll quit drinking it. All right, just right there. So, yeah, I'm fed up with all this nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. But we must be godly if we're going to be a good minister of Christ.
Dr. Pepper. Frank, what gender is the good doctor?
Must be male.
We gotta know.
Must be male. Well, no, didn't he assume? He's assumed.
Yeah. The astounding moment for me in that is that, it's clear. One of the things that's become clear to me is that all of this transphobia, pretty much all homophobia, all rises out of misogyny. Mm-hmm. I think that there's just a thing about men not fulfilling the role that they think men are supposed to play. Because honestly, what the fuck does the gender of your soda have to do with trans people? Other than just you hate women.
Right. Well, and clearly, the doctor's not female. No.
Of course not.
No female doctors.
No, you got to think about when Dr. Pepper came about.
Yeah.
There were no women doctors.
No, so clearly Dr. Pepper's a man. We all know Dr. Pepper is a man. Come on, guys.
That is a special brand of absurd.
Yeah.
When you're like, I want them. If Dr. Pepper started printing cans with just a female doctor on the front of the can, not even a trans woman, just a woman. I want all the brands to run social experiments. That's all I want.
You just want Dr. Pepper to come out and be like, no, this Dr. Pepper, Dr. Susan Pepper, everybody.
Right.
That's who we're
you
honoring
guys didn't know
with
that?
Our drink. Hello.
She's not even a medical doctor. It's just a doctorate. It's a PhD.
Of delicious, by the way.
Of delicious.
I have my PhD in deliciousness. Yes, indeed.
They say that Mr. Pibb is the same as Dr. Pepper, but I think that just dishonors Dr. Pepper's hard work at graduate school. So
they should change it to was it MX Pibb, right?
Oh, Ms. Pibb.
Ms. Pibb. And just watch heads explode.
Just watch, yeah. Yeah. Oh, If a restaurant or a place of business that sells sodas wasn't, if they were well insured, it would be an interesting thing to replace the Mr. Pibb and the Dr. Pepper with like images of women, or just see what happens. All right. We have some people write into us, call into us. You'll recall we were talking last week about the call to prayer and how the Muslim call to prayer is often a noisy affair at ungodly hours of the morning, and that is unacceptable, and that maybe Muslims could have a personal little helper to help them remember to say their prayers.
Absolutely.
Stu wrote into us to say, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I went to Amazon.com and searched for call to prayer alarm clocks and found, and then he included some pictures of multiple alarm clocks, including one that is shaped in that nice Arabic sort of dome shape, which I appreciate.
Cute.
Yeah.
No minarets though.
No minarets. That would be going a step too far.
Too on the nose, maybe.
a little on the nose.
Okay.
It should just be a minaret, is
Yeah.
what it should be.
Yeah, a singing minaret.
Yeah.
Because it's not singing, whatever it is.
Maybe there are Bluetooth minarets that you can get separately. Anyway, Stu goes on. I agree that alarm clocks could take care of the Muslim call to prayer in the 21st century USA. They use microphones and recordings, so why not? Oh, they meaning the mosques use microphones and recordings, so why not add another layer of technology and use modern timekeeping devices? As a matter of fact, Islam has a long history of clock use / development. And then he quotes from the Wikipedia article on clocks. Islamic civilization is credited with further advancing the accuracy of clocks while elaborate engineering. In 797 or possibly 801, the Abbasid Caliph of Baghdad,
The calendars weren't so good, apparently. The clocks were great.
No. They were working on clocks at the time, Frank. Clocks.
It's cited
They were
this
micro,
year, that
not
year,
macro.
And our journaling wasn't too hot either, apparently.
Anyway, the Caliph of Baghdad presented Charlemagne with an Asian elephant named Abdul Abbas, together with a, quote, particularly elaborate example of a water clock.
Oh, wow. I love a good water clock.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't?
Water clocks are charming. Charming as fuck, let me tell you.
But you got to keep the glass clean.
Got to keep the glass clean.
When I went and looked at the water clock that you told me about in Rome, the glass was dirty. It was hard to see what was going on inside.
Why they just don't get like some reverse osmosis something or other?
Filter the water. Come on.
Yeah, just some what is it? Distilled. Just use distilled water.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
It's that simple, you guys.
Good
Come on,
Lord.
All right. We had a voicemail, did we not?
We did. We do, Dan. This is from River. Longtime listener.
Yeah.
Sometimes caller, who has something to say about school vouchers. So let's take a listen.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's River in Texas. I'm just listening to y'all talk about the story about Maine with the religious private schools and school vouchers. A good solution to the issue of, do I fund some private schools but not religious private schools, and how do I do it legally? Like, other than the obvious answer, which is it should not be legal to fund private religious schools with public money. An actual solution to this problem would be to just end school voucher programs. School voucher programs are nothing but a way to move public money into private hands. It's robbing our schools blind. Like that's the whole point of school voucher programs. Instead of moving money out of public schools because, these schools are struggling, I want to put my kids somewhere better, just put the money into that school and make that school better. Anyways, I'm an education professional in training, and this matters a lot to me. Anyways, have a good one.
Thanks, River.
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think the voucher system, it is an obvious cash grab.
Yeah.
But
also like sometimes, sometimes the best way to solve these problems of like fairness or whatnot, right? Well, the religious groups are like, well, but we should get the money too. Just end the program. It's an elegant solution.
Yeah.
Right. Like just stop doing it, period. Right. It was already a bad idea, right, to do vouchers in the first place. And then, all right, cool.
But that's also the problem, is that like there's big money bucking for vouchers.
Oh,
like,
Dan.
The whole DeVos family is all about getting that sweet government money. So
I know.
Because the private sector does everything better than the public sector.
Right.
Everything. Well, Frank, listen, we thrive on donation. That is the only way that you and I make any money off of this thing that keeps it going. So I just want to throw a shout out to anyone who might be considering becoming a patron of the show, now's a great time to do it. And Frank, tell them how they can do it.
Just go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab.
Yeah.
And there's a couple options there. There's Patreon over on the right, or there's a nice little form there where you can help out on PayPal.
Yes, indeed.
And as always, Dan, we do have our top donors to thank. Our lords and saviors, Remlany.
Remla Jem 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 Jeremy. More show coming up.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
So guess who we're having on the show?
I can't imagine.
You, Dan.
What? I'm the special guest.
You're
Well, I
our
don't
special guest today.
Well,
Isn't that
and
crazy?
I brought a special guest with me, which is another Dan. It's double the Dan
This is
for
going to get confusing. I'm not going
double your pleasure and double your fun. Dan McClellan, welcome to the show.
I was told I would be the only Dan.
Oh,
no. Well,
Listen,
if you didn't know that wasn't going to happen.
honestly, if that's important to you, you have made some very bad choices lately.
Well, that goes without saying.
Well, yeah, tell us, either of the Dans, tell us what's going on with you guys. What's this new thing that's coming down the pike?
Oh, it's the latest. It's the hippest thing. Dan and I, Brother McClellan here, is a bona fide TikTok star. And I first became aware of him on TikTok. He was doing these videos about the Bible. And I just became enamored with them because, unlike every other bit of media on the internet about the Bible, I couldn't tell what angle he was coming from.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
I couldn't, you usually get the people on the one side that are trying to promote faith and trying to, build people's belief, and the people on the other side, on our side, who are trying to like knock it down and show how silly and stupid it all is, and
talk about talking bears and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Well, talking donkeys,
donkeys and bears
all that
coming
sort
out
of
of the
thing.
woods. That's what it is.
Yeah. Talking bears are probably in there too. Dan, are there talking bears?
There are no talking bears. There are only a couple of bears,
no.
but yeah, one of them is called upon to go kill a bunch of youth.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
I understand that one. That's one of the stories I kind of empathize with. Like,
just
like
having bears kill the children.
Well, we need
that seems like a good idea.
You need the gif of Schmidt from New Girl going, "Youths."
Yes, exactly. Perfect. So anyway, tell the people, since you're the guest here, about like who you are and what it is that you and I are up to over on the Data Over Dogma podcast.
So my name's Dan McClellan. I am a biblical scholar. I got my PhD in theology and religion from the University of Exeter, and people think that makes me a theologian, but I have to explain that's just the name of the department that awarded the degree. So I wrote my doctoral dissertation on the cognitive science of religion and the conceptualization of deity and divine images in the Hebrew Bible, and it's since been released as an open access book called Adonai's Divine Images, and we've got access to it on my Linktree and all my social media sites. But a couple years ago, I decided I was going to start throwing my hat into the social media ring, specifically on TikTok, and try to kind of present the data as objectively as I was able to, and be a bit of a referee for a lot of the debates going on social media regarding the Bible and religion, try to call balls and strikes and give people some resources to be able to navigate all the claims that are being made out there. And one of the mottos that's kind of developed organically was the idea that I try to put data over dogma and allow the data to operate on their own terms rather than retreating to the battle lines of identity politics and things like that in engaging the claims that are being made. So I spend most of my time on social media responding to claims, trying to combat the spread of misinformation, and also trying to help people gain more access to the academic study of the Bible and religion so they can have a better idea of where those discussions are these days, instead of having to rely on whatever happens to be freely available on the internet, which is usually just wildly outdated.
Yeah. So wait, your claim is, let me see if I get this right. There's misinformation about the Bible?
Not just misinformation, but also disinformation. Yeah, it comes in a couple of different flavors. And there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of folks, the way they think about the Bible is intended to make the Bible meaningful and useful for them. And because the Bible is a very, very ancient text that was originally written to be meaningful and useful for very different people living in very different times, the way we make it meaningful and useful to us today is frequently by distorting it, by renegotiating what it means. And often that is done in the interest of structuring power and values in the favor of somebody's identity politics. And so I try to step in and try to do what I can to help mitigate the spread of that misinformation. And, it's never going to be successful. There's a saying that a lie can travel around the world before the truth gets its shoes on. And that's very true. And I've only become more convinced of that since getting on social media and seeing just how bananas some of the claims out there are.
Give us a few of your favorites. What are a few of your, the wackiest things that you've had to encounter?
Oh gosh, I think my favorite, which is just so bafflingly widespread, is this idea that these people that these aliens called the Anunnaki came to Earth and fiddled with our DNA to create the human race, and that this is hidden between the verses of Genesis and things like that. I think that's
wow.
That one's pretty bananas. The other one, that the Nephilim are still around, that there are giants, that the U.S. government ran into giants in Kandahar, and they've got
Oh my God.
they've got the all of the data to prove this stashed away. Somebody cited some kind of Freedom of Information Act request for any documents related to the Nephilim from the Department of Defense. They were like, "See, it proves it's there." I was like, no,
because there was a request made.
Yeah, it proves somebody sent an email saying, "Show me all the stuff you got on Nephilim," and there was no response. So I think that
you want to know how I know that there are no Nephilim out there? There would have been an NBA recruiter that tracked some down and that brought them over to play basketball.
That would be a riot, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's cheating, but good cheating, I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to drive the right wing even crazier. If they're not going to let trans women play sports, how are they going to let Nephilim play sports?
Half angels or whatever.
Yeah. Are they gonna make them drop their drawers on the court before they can play? And I think one that comes up a lot these days is every new thing that happens, whether it's China, whether it's trains derailing, whether it's the Euphrates River drying up, everything is a fulfillment of something in the book of Revelation, and is a sign not only that the world's about to end, but also that you need to subscribe for more. That is surprisingly widespread.
Well, I subscribe to anyone who will tell me that the world is ending. That's always such an uplifting message that one wants to hear.
And they always say it with a smile on their face. I'm really jazzed to see the rivers or the streets flow with blood.
Yeah. There's some exciting imagery in that book of Revelation, I can tell you. It's really, really fun stuff. So what can folks expect to hear when they tune into the new Data Over Dogma podcast? Because here's the thing. Our listeners, the people that are hearing this now.
You have listeners? Okay.
Ouch. Ouch.
I'm sorry. We don't really have listeners yet.
Yeah,
have some.
Yes, we have a few. But yeah, tell people what they can expect to hear, and why you think, or we think, you and I think that atheists who no longer believe in the Bible might be interested in this.
So our show is going to have a few different segments, but it's primarily going to be focused on interrogating the Bible, figuring out what it's really saying, why it's saying it, so that people can figure out for themselves how much it applies to the modern world, whether it applies at all. We're going to talk about things that are in the news, discoveries of artifacts, claims of discoveries of artifacts, new scholarship that is published. It will feature interviews from scholars. Our second episode that was just released this last Monday features an interview with my dissertation supervisor, Professor Francesca Stavrokopoulou, who has a wonderful new book out called God and Anatomy on God's body. We also talked with Bart Ehrman about the book of Revelation, because he's got a new book out on that. We will talk about aspects of the academic study of the Bible and religion that more people should know about. So I do a segment called What's That Mean? I think that's what the segment's called, but where I talk about terms and concepts from the academic study of the Bible and religion that the general public might not be aware of, but that will help them to better digest and better understand what's going on in the world of biblical scholarship. So we're going to cover a handful of different things, but the primary idea is to equip listeners with the data that they need and with access to the resources that they need to be able to know where the scholars stand on relevant issues related to the study of the Bible and religion. And I think it will be helpful for people on all different sides of these issues, whether they're believers or non. Will help them better understand what's at stake, help them better understand the data, and be able to engage in a more thoughtful and more informed and hopefully more productive way with people on their own side, people on other sides, so we can all hopefully come together a little better, get along a little better, and progress a little bit in this thing called life.
Damn, we're solving world problems here.
Well, we gotta find some way to sell the show.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Frank, you got anything you want to come in on this with?
Well, I mean, you kind of touched upon it, both Dan's, both with your question and your answer. But just like it's the idea of like an atheist who's very, and our listeners are going to vary a lot, right? As far as like where they are in their atheist experience, I guess.
Their journey.
Yeah. But like for somebody like myself who's like very far gone, right? Like, what do you have for, like, why should I care about somebody's holy book that really doesn't mean anything to me, right?
Well, I don't think you necessarily have to care, but for folks who are going to be engaging with others in their life, whether friends, family, acquaintances, coworkers, and others who feel strongly about this, whether positively or negatively, I think it equips them to be able to engage those discussions on a more informed and productive level. And, the Bible is something that causes a lot of conflict today and causes, it can be a question of life or death for folks around the world. And hopefully this contributes in a positive way to helping us overcome a lot of the conflicts that arise more because of identity politics than because of any actual substantial issues going on between groups. So it's not going to be for everybody. We're not going to demand that people pay attention or enjoy it, and we're going to see to it that a lot of people don't enjoy it. But
yeah, that's true. We
oh wow, that's quite the goal going in.
We're definitely out there poking a lot of bears. There are going to be plenty of believers who are pissed off as hell about this, and quite a few non-believers who might get irked from time to time too, because it's. We're not pulling any punches here. It's legit. We go for the jugular of the data. So whatever the scholarship shows to be probable or true or likely, that's what we're going to talk about. And if that has implications for someone's faith, or if that has implications for someone's, beliefs or whatever, those chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I think a lot of people count on others being intimidated or being scared to engage certain ideas. And I think that listeners will find out soon enough that we are either confident enough or stupid enough not to care what other people have to say. Anybody familiar with my TikTok channel probably knows that I am definitely one of those two things when it comes to any issue associated with the Bible, with religion and how it's read or deployed or weaponized today.
And I definitely suggest people go and check out your TikTok, just because it's a lot of fun. You like to dig in. You bring your receipts. You let people know why. You'll take a video of someone claiming that the Euphrates River is drying up, and not only will you say no, this isn't what Revelation was talking about, but also the picture that you showed while you were saying it is not of the Euphrates, and also it's quite delightful, your takedowns of these conspiracy theories and
and
Christian
I think
nut jobberies.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that a lot of these folks have millions of followers across TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and think they're influencers. Oh man. My goal is not to just dunk on people. That's not what I hope to do. I'm hoping to correct misinformation and to help people understand. And every now and then there will be people who I will, I'll correct something that they say, and I can be curt. I don't think I'm mean. Maybe one or two videos I was mean, but that was a while ago. But sometimes people will contact me and be like, I appreciate you correcting me. I see I was wrong, and they'll take down their video or they'll repost mine or whatever. And then every now and then, some of those bigger accounts will just get so upset with me. Like, how dare you question me with all my followers? And it's like, but you don't know what you're talking about, and you're wrong.
But millions of followers means you're right, doesn't it?
That's what a lot of people seem to think, and so I enjoy seeing folks quietly delete their videos after I come through and comment. It developed really organically when I started responding to people. A lot of people introduce their videos. They will have an introductory claim and then go on to elaborate. And I saw that as a wonderful opportunity to butt in and say, all right, let's see it. And and after a few months, I started to see people saying that back to me. If I had a video where I didn't say that would be like, where's the all right, let's see it. So it became a bit of a catchphrase, a bit of a tagline for me. So that's, it's kind of fun, seeing that, because, it's fun seeing people enjoy that tagline. There's a formula, they know what to expect. And, there's a lot of grabbing my popcorn comments, every time people hear the all right, let's see it. And so I started doing merch, and a lot of people were asking for all right, let's see it shirts. And I was like, well, okay, look, I did a couple with like a drawing of me on it, and the creep factor is just too much. So it's like, I don't know that I can put all right, let's see it on a t-shirt in a tactful way. So I ended up doing one that's just text, and then immediately below it, it says like hashtag data over dogma. And so I'm trying to contextualize it as much as I can to make it less creepy, but still one that I don't advertise, and I don't have my own, all right, let's see it merch in my home.
So, all right. If people want to see it, where can they find you on the various social medias?
So I go by the username McClellan, which is a phonetic spelling of my last name. It's Maklelan. When I was living in South America, a lot of folks couldn't pronounce my last name because it began with 4 consonants in a row. So rather than see them struggle with it, I would just give them this phonetic spelling, and they would all nail it in one. So McClellan Org is my website where I do online classes. I've got one coming up May 11th on the Divine Council, which is going to be a lot of fun. This is a subject I have studied quite a bit. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, and I am on YouTube at McClellan across all of those platforms. And then our podcast is the Data Over Dogma podcast, which is also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Data Over Dogma. And we're also on Facebook and on Twitter as the Data, or actually I think it's just at Data Over Dogma on those. I'm sure you'll have links to this.
Yeah, we'll find some links for you and stuff, but
Okay.
you'll find us. Just
Yeah.
poke around a little bit. You'll find us. We'll also be on all of the wherever you're getting this show. We'll be there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Three Amigos line. Wherever there is injustice, you will find us.
We'll be there.
Wherever there is misinformation, we'll be there. Yeah,
right.
find a bear and you'll find us on the other side poking at it.
Awesome.
Poking it to go eat children.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Dan. And
Hey,
Dan.
thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. I assume you were talking to me.
Yes, he
Both of
never
you,
thanks me
both
for
of
coming
you.
on the show. Well, friends, if you have anything you'd like to write into us, you can write into us. You can call into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or leave us a voicemail message at 424-666-8442. We'd love to hear your voice.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button.
And if you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, you can do so by going to thankgodimatheist.com/members-only.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.